Hello there, 14th of April 2022. Greetings from Rwanda's capital Kigali. This is what makes our top stories tonight. On the second day of his three-day state visit to Jamaica, President Paul Kagame met with Jamaican Governor General, His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Linton Allen, before addressing Jamaica's joint sitting of the House of Parliament at Gordon House.
This Thursday, the governments of Rwanda and the UK signed the Rwanda-UK Migration and Economic Development Partnership, under which some people seeking refugee protection in Britain will be transferred to and hosted in Rwanda.
First Lady Mrs. Jeanette Kagame this Thursday evening attended the launch of Intent to Deceive, a research-based book on the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, authored by British investigative journalist and author Linda Melvern. A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa.
And my name is Martina Abera.
As we kick it off, let us inform you that while addressing Jamaica's joint sitting of the House of Parliament at Gordon House, President Paul Kagame noted that it is high time for the Caribbean and African to act together for a common development. President Paul Kagame also paid a tribute to Jamaicans, both individuals and leaders of international organizations who have contributed to the transformation of Rwanda. Take a look.
It is high time for Africa and the Caribbean to work together in a direct and sustainable sustained manner, both through our representative regional organizations, CARICOM and the African Union, and bilaterally. The first Africa CARICOM summit last September was long overdue and must be built upon. There should also be direct people-to-people exchanges. Particularly for the youth and entrepreneurs. In Rwanda, we have already had several Jamaican professionals come to our country and make meaningful contributions, some of them as representatives of leading international organizations. This has only made us want to see more people from Jamaica and this region in Rwanda.
On the second day of his three-day state visit to Jamaica, President Paul Kagame met with Jamaican Governor General, His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Linton Allen, before addressing Jamaica's joint sitting of the Houses of Parliament at Gordon House. Athan Tashabia reports.
This Thursday, April 14th, President Paul Kagame met with the Jamaican Governor-General, Sir Patrick Linton Allen, before addressing Jamaica's joint sitting of the Houses of Parliament at Gordon House. President Kagame arrived in Jamaica on Wednesday for a three-day state visit aimed at strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries. Shortly after arriving in Jamaica on Wednesday, President Kagame visited the National Heroes Park, a botanical garden which serves as a burial site and permanent fixture honoring Jamaican heroes, prime ministers and culture leaders, with numerous monuments erected. The head of state laid a wreath at the shrine of Jamaica's first national hero, Marcus Garvey. President Kagame's visit to Jamaica coincides with the country's 60th anniversary of independence, with the year-long celebrations being held under the theme, Reigniting a Nation for Greatness. Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness will host a state dinner in honor of President Kagame this Thursday evening. On the third day of his visit, President Kagame will hold closed-door discussions with Prime Minister Holness, followed by bilateral discussions with members of both delegations. President Kagame and Prime Minister Holness will then witness the signing of several agreements of cooperation between Rwanda and Jamaica. President Kagame will also meet with the opposition leader of Jamaica and President of People's National Party, Mr. Mark Golding. To conclude his state visit, President Kagame will join Prime Minister Holness for an interactive interview, Think Jamaica, discussing various topics including the future of African-Caribbean partnership, according to the statement from the presidency.
Thank you very much, Ethan, for the report. And as we move ahead, the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Ndagijimana, who is part of President Paul Kagame's visiting delegation to Jamaica, says that Rwanda is proud of the progress Jamaica has made in the 60 years since it gained her independence, and assured Rwanda's cooperation in continued development of people of both countries.
During the event to launch Jamaica 60, a series of year-long activities celebrating the 60th independence of the country, Rwanda's Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Ndagijimana, who is part of President Kagame's visiting delegation to Jamaica, said that Rwanda welcomes the progress Jamaica has made in various sectors in its 60 years of independence, and assured cooperation of the two countries in accelerating the development for the benefit of people from both countries.
On behalf of President Paul Kagame, I convey greetings and congratulations from Rwanda to all our brothers and sisters in Jamaica as you mark the 60th anniversary of your country's independence. You have every reason to be proud of Jamaica's many achievements over the last 60 years. We are very honored to be here with you and to celebrate with you. We look forward to working with you through our bilateral cooperation to achieve more progress for the benefit of the people of Jamaica and the people of Rwanda.
Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness thanked guests from around the world for joining the celebrations to mark the 60th anniversary of Jamaica's independence. Among the visiting guests include President Kagame, who arrived in the country on Wednesday afternoon. Jamaican Prime Minister Holness says his country will continue to maintain relations with foreign countries, including Rwanda, especially as it supports democracy and transformation of the common people.
We are happy to have our brothers and sisters from Rwanda with us in this special moment. His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, has traveled directly from the continent after having a long meeting, I'm told, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And he will spend tomorrow with us discussing matters of state and opportunities for economic cooperation for the prosperity of our two countries.
Jamaica gained independence in 1962 after the country was colonized by the British Empire. Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom has since maintained a representative in Jamaica through the Governor General. Jamaica is known for its world-class tourism, where 70% of the country's gross domestic product is generated through service. Jamaica is also known for having the world's most popular reggae music and one of the world's leading sporting countries, particularly in track and field events, with world record holders such as Usain Bolt among other superstars.
This Thursday, the governments of Rwanda and the UK signed the Rwanda-UK Migration and Economic Development Partnership, under which some people seeking refugee protection in Britain will be transferred to and hosted in Rwanda. Athen Tashabia again reports.
The immigration crisis is one of the most pressing issues facing the world at the moment, with illegal migrants increasingly making desperate journeys across oceans to build a better future beyond their native countries. Some of these immigrants have lost their lives in the process, while others are in the hands of law enforcers pending processing their immigration claims. According to the Rwanda-UK Migration and Economic Development Partnership Agreement signed by the two countries on Thursday, April 14, 2022, Rwanda is going to receive thousands of illegal immigrants from the UK. Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Vincent Biruta says Rwanda values human beings, which is why the country entered a partnership with the UK to host asylum seekers and refugees in need.
This Migration and Economic Development Partnership reflects Rwanda's commitment to protecting vulnerable people, a principle which always governs the international policy of our government. It will also address a serious equity issue, which is the global imbalance in opportunities for human capacity development, which is driving irregular migration. Because of Rwanda's recent history, we have a deep connection to the plight of those seeking safety and opportunity in a new land. As you may be aware, Rwanda was formerly one of the world's leading producers of refugees, and many Rwandans have experienced what it means to be displaced. This has shaped how we approach migration and asylum. Rwanda already provides a refuge for almost 130,000 refugees from multiple countries, including neighbors like the DRC and Burundi, as well as Afghanistan and migrants evacuated from Libya. This work has involved partnering with international bodies such as the UNHCR, the International Organization for Migration, and the African Union, and we remain open to continue working with these and other organizations.
The UK Home Secretary Priti Patel has said that the United Kingdom has taken a new approach to addressing the issue of migration. She described Rwanda as one of the safe and secure countries with a unique history in terms of refugees and resettlement in particular.
But Rwanda has a very unique history in terms of refugees and resettlement in particular. First and foremost, Rwanda is a safe and secure country with the respect for the rule of law, and clearly a range of institutions that have evolved and developed over time. And with that, the skilled way in which Rwanda has already provided resettlement for almost 130,000 refugees from multiple countries. And look at that alongside many of the good innovations that have taken place, along with some of the investments, the economic development, the fundamental principle of respecting human capital and investing in people. If I may say so, Rwanda has been very forward-leaning and has been very dynamic in the conversations that we've had as well around, yes, economic growth and the partnership, but respect for people and giving them the ability to find new opportunities. And today, our approach as two outward-looking countries has led to the signing of a new international partnership, which is a world first. It is a migration and economic development partnership with the country of Rwanda and the UK. This will see some of those arriving illegally in the UK, such as those crossing the Channel in dangerous small boats, relocated to Rwanda to resettle and to rebuild their lives in the way in which the Minister has just outlined.
In the implementation of this partnership agreement, Rwanda will seek for meaningful long-term solution to the immigration crisis, according to Foreign Minister Vincent Biruta.
For there to be meaningful long-term solutions to the migration crisis, which is causing huge suffering to millions, we need to do more than just give shelter. It is possible to frame migration in another way, and it is an opportunity for all societies to thrive. Fear and suspicion of those who need to move to build a better life makes it harder for all of us to better work out win-win solutions for all.
The 5-year agreement is expected to provide more than 150 billion Rwandan francs to the Rwandan government to provide services needed to the immigrants, including education, healthcare, employment, and other basic services. Shortly before signing the agreement, Home Secretary of the United Kingdom Priti Patel visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial, where she paid respects to the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Reporting for RwandaTV News, Ethan Toshobia.
Now, before we get off the Rwanda-UK migration deal, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson reiterated that his country is committed to partnering with other countries in solving the issue of immigrants. Prime Minister Boris Johnson noted that discussions that drove to the Rwanda-UK migration and economic development partnership has been ongoing for 9 months. He further expressed hope that the partnership will produce positive outcomes, owing to the fact that Rwanda is committed to help and protect immigrants.
So from today, our new migration and economic development partnership will mean that anyone entering the UK illegally, as well as those who have arrived illegally since January the 1st, may now be relocated to Rwanda. The deal we've done is uncapped, and Rwanda will have the capacity to resettle tens of thousands of people in the years ahead. And let's be clear, Rwanda is one of the safest countries in the world, globally recognized for its record on welcoming and integrating migrants. Later this year, it will welcome leaders from across the Commonwealth, and before the pandemic, In 2018, the IMF said Rwanda was the world's fourth fastest growing economy. We're confident that our new migration partnership is fully compliant with our international legal obligations.
First Lady Mrs. Jeannette Kagame this Thursday evening attended the launch of Intent to Deceive, a research-based book on the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, authored by British investigative journalist and author Linda Melverne. The book launch was held at the Senior Officers' Mess in Kimihurura. Linda Melverne made extensive research on the preparation and implementation of the genocide against the Tutsi that took place in Rwanda in 1994. She also spoke to some of the world's leading leaders, saying that there is a need for more research that will allow more information to be accessed by the public to be used to fight against genocide denial.
Coincided with a growth in social media. I think that that has played a huge part. We are in what someone called yesterday a post-truth era. I don't think it will last, but we are definitely in a post-truth era. You know, it's not just the genocide against the Tutsi that is distorted. It is other things as well, other events as well suffer this. But in the case of Rwanda, it is particularly pernicious because a movement has grown up to use this distorted history to try to attack the government here, and that is its danger. I do believe, I've just said it, that there are different rules when reporting Rwanda to when reporting takes place in the West. You can say almost anything you like. We've seen that with no fact-checking. Books are now produced that are not properly prepared. There is no proper background investigation or research. You know, when reporting the assassination of Habyarimana, it would be rather like reporting the assassination of President Kennedy and ignoring all the scientific reports, all the witnesses, and just taking two people who have an alternative view for their own ends and reporting what they're saying as fact. I mean, it is absolutely ludicrous. And time will tell. It is a matter of time. And I do think that in the end, those facts that are established will win out. Truth can pass through fire and not get burned, I think. This is I have heard this many times. Yeah.
Remarks, Melverne also thanked the government of Rwanda for supporting her through the research process.
I'd also like to thank you all for the launch of this book. It means a great deal to me. Thank you. I would also like to thank the people in Rwanda who over the course of 28 years have helped and informed my work, responding to sometimes unreasonable requests for help at crucial moments, and for your insights, for your memories, and for your wisdom during many long and detailed interviews. It has been a privilege to know you and this remarkable country that has risen so spectacularly from the ashes. I would also like to acknowledge the great honor accorded to me by His Excellency Paul Kagame, who gave authorization all those years ago to allow me to consult the numerous and precious collection of state archives here in Rwanda. This was unprecedented in my journalistic experience anywhere in the world. And I could not have written these 3 books without you. And this has been the privilege of my life. And finally, I would like to thank you all for your generous, kind and warm hospitality over these many, many years. Murakoze Chane.
Some of those who read the book Intent to Deceive denying the genocide of the Tutsi, say the book is filled with information that will help people learn more about the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
And as we move ahead to other matters, according to the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, RIB, during the week of commemoration, it received 53 cases of genocide ideology and related crimes involving 68 people. We do have the report with Jen Mutoni.
Residents of Kigali say it is unfortunate that 28 years after the end of the genocide against the Tutsi, there are still people who harbor genocidal ideology.
People who deny and negate the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi should be called out, because it is an act that took the lives of many people, which is why genocide ideology cannot be tolerated.
Local authorities say they have made efforts to sensitize the public to avoid genocide ideology.
At one point, Gasabo received about 29 cases in 2019 before COVID. During COVID, it wasn't so much because there were no commemoration events taking place. So I think during these events, when people are giving testimonies, I guess it provokes those with genocide ideologies to voice them. As we continue to do campaigns and encourage people to fight genocide ideologies and avoid crimes related to it, we also fight against ideologies that are spread especially within families, hence resulting into children adopting such ideas and spreading them elsewhere.
Naftal Aishakie, Executive Secretary of IWUKA, points out that despite the efforts to fight the genocidal ideology, there are those who have chosen to hold on to it and spread it among the youth.
Destroying properties, insulting people, be it verbally or in writing, and other visible acts, all these are disgraceful and inappropriate, given the efforts that have been invested in teaching Rwandans the consequences of genocide ideologies.
The Rwanda Investigation Bureau said that during the first week of commemoration of the 28th anniversary of the genocide against the Tutsi, it received 53 cases of genocide ideology and related crimes. RIB spokesperson Dr. Thierry Murangira said that although these crimes are declining, everyone should be careful and report such cases.
Muri iki cyumweru ibi byaha byari byiganjemo guhohotera wacitse ku icumu rya jenoside.
During this commemoration week, these crimes involved torturing genocide survivors at a rate of 51.9%, 12 cases of denying and negating the genocide rating 23.1%, 6 cases of genocide ideology equivalent to 11.4%. We urge people to avoid genocide ideology, hurting words, to stop acts of torturing genocide survivors, and warn those who hide behind social media. And we ask parents that have failed to let go of those ideologies to at least stop sharing them with their children.
According to RIB, 53 cases of complaints received involved 68 people, among which 43 have been detained, 13 are still on the run, while others are yet to be identified. RIB says that in the past 6 years during the commemoration week, they've received 1,911 files of charges of genocide ideology and related cases. In 2017, it received 350 files, 383 in 2018, 404 in 2019, 377 in 2020, and 383 in 2021. In 2022, they received 53, which means that these crimes have decreased by 53.5%. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Government officials have once again called on everyone to be pioneers of unity and avoid anything that can bring division amongst Rwandans. The call was made on Thursday during the commemoration ceremony of the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi, organized by the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion, as well as other affiliated agencies. Olive Nete with more.
The ceremony to pay respects to the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi was attended by the staff of different ministries, including the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion, Rwanda Elders Advisory Forum, National Public Service Commission, National Child Development Agency, Rwanda Cooperation Initiative, National Youth Council, and the National Women's Council. The ceremony was preceded by laying wreaths and giving honor to more than 250,000 victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi buried at Kigali Genocide Memorial. In his testimony, Jean-Claude Kamanayo, a genocide survivor who currently works with the National Women's Council, appreciated how the government of Rwanda assisted genocide survivors to rebuild their lives after the genocide.
We thank the Inkotanyi that gave us life. They gave life back to us. After the genocide, I went back to school. Files paid for my school fees. I studied well and finished my high school with good grades, and also went to university. After that, I got married, and now I'm a father of 2 children.
The Minister of Youth and Culture, Rosemary Mbabazi, reflected on how the youth played a big role in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, yet they should have invested the same energy to build the country. During the preparations and implementations of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, the youth were taught hatred and murdering by the bad government. The activities of the youth in between April and July were characterized by an immense hatred all around Rwanda. Those young people had families, and their parents were also involved in the genocide against the Tutsi. Naftal Ahishakiye, the executive secretary of Iwoka, noted that there are values that Rwandans should learn from the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi.
Among the values that we can't forget is patience, working hard, and patriotism. To elders among us, you remember it. In 1959, one's house would be destroyed and leaves the place, but after things returning to normal, comes back, rebuild, and after 3 or 2 years, would have a stable home and be a self-reliant person. While discussing with that same person whose home was destroyed, you would find out that he or she has good dreams for his country. You would understand the country that he or she wishes, and also with a passion to do what he can to make it happen. For us who are still living, we have a duty to continue to remember these people, and that our descendants would follow our footsteps, which will become a lasting legacy.
Professor Jeanette Bayisenge, the Minister of Gender and Family Promotion, pointed out that everyone should promote unity and avoid anything that can bring divisions among Rwandans. How do we implement the government's program of unity among Rwandans in our daily lives? In the daily work that you do, where you spend most of your time, what are the values that I practice? Do I avoid anything that would put Rwandans back to darkness? Do I strive to know the history of my country and counteract deniers and negators? After my work, I go back to my family. What do I discuss with my children and those I live with? Do they know the real history of our country? Different programs of the government aims at helping us unite and avoid anything that can divide us. In the commemoration ceremony, it was also pointed out that the former Minister of Youth and Cooperatives in 1989 to 1994, Calixte Nzabonimana, as well as Paulina Nyiramasuko, the former Minister of Gender and Family Promotion back in 1992 to 1994, were involved in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Genocide survivors in Nyarubuye in Kirehe district say that despite the brutal killings of their families in Nyarubuye, they will always remember the bravery of the RPF Inkotanyi forces that rescued them and brought them back to life and have now built their lives. Jen Mutoni.
It is difficult for one to talk about the brutal killings and the severity of the genocide, especially what happened in Nyarubuye Catholic Church Parish in Kirehe District. What was once a convent is now a genocide memorial site where more than 35,000 Tutsi had run there for refuge, as they were accounted before they were attacked by the Interahamwe. The memorial site possesses some of the weapons and other tools that were being used to brutally kill the Tutsi that had run there for refuge. Here are some of the 11 survivors who, in their brief testimony, highlighted the atrocities that took place there.
People were killed there, babies were massacred, and the perpetrators were removing hearts from babies and eating them and drinking their blood while we were watching. And the very next morning, they came back and spread a lot of pepper among us.
They say that they will always remember and appreciate the bravery of the RPF Inkotanyi forces that rescued them, even though their families had already been killed, and they are now living well.
It was hard, but they came for our rescue and they protected us, provided us with security and put us through school, something that we thought was impossible. And even though we lost our loved ones here, we felt like we had someone to look out for us.
The president of Ibuka, an association of genocide survivors in Kirehe district, has called for a historical study to be conducted to determine how the genocide was planned and carried out in the former Rusumo commune, and especially in the Nyarubuye area. Kirehe district mayor Rangira Bruno acknowledged that this project is to be done soon. Eastern Province Governor Emmanuel Gasana told those that were present in the commemoration event that through their Rwandan values, genocide should be prevented from ever happening again.
We chose our values as Rwandans as a pillar that unites us. It is a pact that we made with our country to do all we can to ensure that genocide never happens again.
During the commemoration of the 28th anniversary of the genocide against the Tutsi, 12 bodies of the genocide victims that were retrieved from areas near Nyarubuye were given a proper burial at the Nyarubuye Memorial Site. The memorial is home to more than 58,000 genocide victims. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
And on behalf of the entire news production team that made it happen, thank you very much for being with us. My name is Sam Kalisa.
And mine, Martina Abera.
Stay safe.
And have a great night.
Bye-bye.